I need to be on the plane, cleanse up my mind with a strain. Free up my mind from the strain, we are not talking the same. These niggas preaching the rain. I don't care about the cloud that you claim, I don't care about the game that you play. Pull up a wood in the tray, confidence triggers a lane. Ooh, I was just hurting for pay. You shouldn't be feeling this way. You watch me fall to the grave. Niggas love to sit in the grave. Keep them niggas way out of the way. I cannot stomach them. Fuck up and run again. But fuck it, I'm dumping me. Need my ambitions to line up. I got some levels to climb up. I can't relinquish my time up. Talk to these souls like a shaman. Won't be remembered as common. They gotta know how we vibing. I just gotta stay in my lane. Fuck around me, harder to say. Having trouble staying in one place. Might have to swerve on the play. Put them repeat on delay. We gon' head to the street, we gon' stay. We gon' hide this shit all in your face. I got problems, I promise to face. Get as much as be taking this place. And my cup, it can fill up a lake, yeah. Pull up right here where you stay, yeah. Ain't no one really not safe, yeah. Bounce with the team. Gon' hit it, bounce the king. Every beat bounce it be clean. Like it's bout on the scene. Shell spiking all through the screen. Knock a nigga all out the ring. Knock a nigga all out the race. Lot of bars, not a lot of space. You the type that kept the luggage place. Money's only time you same face. A bitch better come with this cake. Only 2 hands on this plate. My circle keep me in shape. Your circle keep you in line. Looks like you still love me. We already ran through the game. Some of that brown in my cup. Probably some brown in my life. Got it mapped out with this pen. You already know I'm at. You already know. Got it mapped out with this pen. You already know where I'm at. But I need to be on the plane. Cleanse out my mind with a strain. Free up my mind from the strain. We are not talking the same. These niggas preaching the rain. I don't care about the cloud that you claim. I don't care about the game that you play. Pull up a wood in the tray. Confidence triggers a lane. Ooh, I was just hurting for pay. You shouldn't be feeling this way. Shit, you watch me fall to the grave. Niggas let it sit in the grave. Keep them niggas way out of the way. I cannot stomach them. But fuck up and run again. And fuck it, I'm dumping it. Back with precision, back up division with a little action in it. Yeah, that's the ticket. Time's a ticking, look how much you missing. Now you're chasing bitches into loving, not simping. Luckily, I know the difference. Need more legs, yeah, that kinda lingers. Uptown, camper road, make sure you come and see us. Got what you need, no cap. If not, they filling them gaps. Everyone's eating, ain't no one with chili laps. Losing all your gritty folk, low down city hoes. Rather say you got it, baby. You would never get me though. I should charge you a rack for a verse. Most niggas ain't big enough to carry my words. I just carry the song, then I carry it along. All my blood, sweat, and grief, real shit marrow to my bones. I'm creeping through these crevices to avoid the deficits. We bear arms only if words can't settle it. I'm the type that's too much, I'm never finding enough. You could cut off my hands, I'm never losing my touch. You could take all I have and still ain't giving a fuck. I let go of my grudges, was holding my blessings up. I need high class, I need clarity. Garnish achievements with head ever so sparingly. Got in my heart with lies and folks when they stare at me. Yeah.
What's up? What's up? Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always, Jalen Walker. If you're listening to the podcast via Spotify, Apple Music, or any other streaming platforms, please make sure and also check us out on YouTube and click that subscribe button. Much appreciated. We have returned. Welcome back to Pound for Pound. We took a month off in October, but we're back. And man, oh man, do we have a big one for you. UFC 268 has arrived. Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2 for the Welterweight Championship of the World. Colby steps into the octagon to face Usman in his rematch for the title. Colby was KO'd in the 5th round during their first meeting and also had his jaw broke in the process. Also, Namajunas will defend her title against the former women's flyweight champion Weili Zhang, who she beat earlier this year for the title with an insane head kick KO. We also have Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler in a lightweight bout to decide the contender for the lightweight championship fight after Oliveira and Dustin Poirier conclude their fight later this year. It's a jam-packed night, and it's for sure going to be one for the books. We'll break it all down and much, much more. But first, a word from our sponsors at Manscaped. Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation Lawnmower 4.0. Ready for an out-of-the-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off not only in the U.S., but Canada, UK, and across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear, nose, hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. You can get 20% off plus free shipping with code Pound for Pound at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code Pound for Pound at manscaped.com. You can also go to manscaped.com/Pound for Pound, and the coupon will automatically be applied to your cart. All right, guys. We've been away for a little bit, just taking care of some things. Also, the fights weren't, for me, technically worth covering. Last week's was, but we still took October off. But go ahead and go into last week's insane main card. We had 6 fights. Mahag Ankalaev defeated Volkan via decision. I was at light heavyweight. And then we had Ling Zhiliang, who lost to Khamzat Chimaev, who has continued his reign in the UFC, especially at Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. Khamzat is 10-0 and fiercely making his way up the welterweight rankings. Keep an eye out for that man. Alexander Volkov beat Marcin Tybura via decision. That took him to 34-9, and that was a heavyweight. And at lightweight, we got Khabib's protege, Islam Makhachev, who defeated Dan Hooker via submission in the first round. Islam Makhachev. Just remember that name. He is in good hands with Khabib. I don't want to say he's the new Khabib, but technically it's kind of like that. He fights just like him. He has the ferocity of Khabib, and he's definitely going to be a problem in the lightweight division. And then at bantamweight for the co-main event for the interim bantamweight title, we had Petr Yan, who defeated Corey Sandhagen via decision. What an excellent fight. As we know, this was supposed to be a rematch between Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling after Yan landed an illegal knee to lose the title. But this was the interim title, so now Petr Yan has the interim title, and he'll be fighting Aljamain Sterling hopefully early next year. And then the light heavyweight main event for the light heavyweight championship, Glover Teixeira beat Jan Blachowicz to gain the light heavyweight title, and that was via submission in the second round. I'm personally super happy for Glover. 42 years old in the sport. He had one chance at the title before and lost it, and now he came back and didn't mess around and got the job done. Congrats to Glover. What an excellent fighter. What an excellent fight that was. What an excellent card UFC 267 was. And as you know, UFC 267 was on ESPN Plus last week for free. But this week, UFC 268, back-to-back UFC numbered events will be full price pay-per-view tonight. It would definitely be worth it. On that card, We got some heavy hitters, but we're going to go ahead and start out with Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler at the lightweight division. With the help of Trevor Whitman, Justin Gaethje, 22-3, has clearly harnessed his temperament to make the most out of his skill set, as we saw in his win streak. He knocked out James Vick 2018, Edson Barboza 2019, Donald Cerrone in 2019, and dished out one of the biggest beating Tony Ferguson has ever seen, and that was in 2020. No doubt in my mind, Justin Gaethje is a top contender fighter, and he's proved it time after time after time. I think his strategy going in here would be the leg kicks. He has some of the most powerful kicks in the division, and it will only take a few to disable Chandler. But will he have enough in the tank to last all 3 rounds with Chandler? That's what it's really going to come down to. As we know, Michael Chandler, 22-6. He's also coming off that title fight, a loss against Charles Oliveira. He had him beat, man. He had Oliveira beat. Then Oliveira came out the next round and got the job done. As we know, that was for the vacate title that Khabib has finally let go of after he retired, and UFC said, okay, Khabib's not coming back. So Charles Oliveira had that title. I still think Michael Chandler was super close to winning that fight. And I would have loved to see Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. But it's all good. It's all good. It can still happen. He had a perfect debut against Dan Hooker back in January. He had an amazing fight. You know, he came from the Bellator. He was the Bellator champion. He's ruthless. He has knockouts over Sidney Outlaw, Vincent Henderson. And his second UFC appearance, unfortunately, did not go his way. But we all know what happened. You know, Dan Hooker, and then he fought Oliveira. But he has a lot of upside with him. He has the tempo. He has the agility in the pocket. He has the versatility that he needs to beat Justin Gaethje. And so does Justin Gaethje, vice versa, against Chandler. So I think this fight is going to be outstanding to open up UFC 268 main card. I'm super pumped for it. I hope you guys are. But considering all the fights between these two, it really just comes down to who can get that haymaker punch to put the person down. I don't think this is going to go all 3 rounds. But I think Chandler's going to win this one via TKO. It's going to be a damn good fight, and I can keep saying that over and over, but this could possibly be fight of the night, arguably with another fight I'll mention here soon. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take Michael Chandler via KO. It's so interesting. This is the first fight of the night. I'm really interested in why they chose this to open the fight. This could have easily been co-main. I know there's 2 title fights, but at least the third fight, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a little disrespectful, I think, for these two being as big as the names they are, for them to be the first fight. But shoot, get to see it sooner than later, you know what I mean? So the next fight on the card, we got Shane Burgos versus Billy Quarantillo at the featherweight division. Burgos 13-3. He emerges after battering Edson Barboza back in May. He went toe-to-toe with one of the most polished strikers in the division, and he ate everything Barboza dished out until one flash of a right hand on the temple forced Burgos' body to shut down completely. There's no arguing his toughness. There's no arguing his durability. The boy has a chin. He just needs to be able to get the job done before his body shuts down on him and he's not able to get the job done. He has the power and speed that Barboza had. It was an amazing fight coming down to the last draw. Burgos is an excellent fighter, and I think it's going to be a battle here for Billy. Billy 16-3. He's also coming off fight of the night bonus and fell on the right side of one, earning a brilliant TKO over Gabriel Benitez. It was a great fight back in July, and it came in response to him losing his first UFC fight, which snapped an 8-fight win streak. Gavin Tucker Denton Quarantillo's 2020 with a unanimous decision after earning a unanimous decision of his own against Spike Carlisle and knocking out Kyle Nelson earlier in the year. You know, Billy's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So look for the grappling, the takedowns, look for submissions. I think Billy's going to have a lot on his plate here. So will Billy. But in the end, I think it's going to go all 3 rounds, and I think Shane Burgos is going to take this fight and progress to 14-3 and taking Billy to 16-4. Another damn good fight. Like, this card is stacked, man. What an excellent fight. But yeah, we're going to have to take Burgos via decision. Will it be unanimous or not? I'm not sure. We'll see how that plays out tonight. All right. Also, third fight of the night, we got a legend stepping back into the octagon. And I'm personally super excited for this one. Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera at the bantamweight division. I am a huge Frankie Edgar fan. How can you not? It's Frankie Edgar. You know what I mean? February 2007 was Frankie Edgar's debut in the UFC. He's going to make that short trip to Madison Square Garden for his 29th walk into the octagon as he continues to impress his top-ranked guys over and over, year after year after year after year. Frankie Edgar is one of the best and one of the all-time greats. You know what I mean? He had a unanimous decision over Cub Swanson, but then lost a unanimous decision to Max Holloway, and they got knocked out again by the Korean Zombie in 2019. He showed glimpses of the old Frankie in a split decision over Pedro Munoz in 2020, but he's coming off suffering another knockout suffered by him back in February. He took everything to the chin, you know what I mean? But it just still in my head. I love Corey Sandhagen. I love Frankie Edgar. But to this day, every time I think of Frankie Edgar now, I think of that beautiful Corey Sandhagen knee that landed on Edgar to knock him out this year. But, you know, the past is the past. Edgar will bring the pace, the level changes. It may not be enough against Vera, who is extremely well-rounded, but Vera is a beast on the mat. You know what I mean? Edgar's chin is insane. We can see him subdue Vera for 3 rounds with his wrestling, but it all depends on if he can even get Vera down. Marlon Vera, 17-7-1. As we know, he beat Sugar Sean O'Malley, giving his first loss. He is the next big name that Frankie Edgar is going to be taking on. You know, he stormed his way up the ranks with an excellent 5-fight win streak, capped off with a TKO over Andre Ewell in 2019. He's gone 2-2 since then. As you know, he lost a unanimous decision to Song Yadong, but a lot of people think he won that, including me. And then, as I mentioned, he popped out Sean O'Malley and got that win, giving him his first ever MMA loss. So leg kicks, punches, range, elbows, the clinch will slow Edgar down in favor of Vera. But we know Edgar's got a chin. But we'll see what happens. You know, this is going to be an excellent fight. I love Frankie Edgar, and I don't want to be biased here, but I'm not going to be biased. I got to take Marlon Vera is going to win this via decision. I don't think either guy is going to get a submission or a knockdown. I think it's going to go all 3 rounds, and I think Marlon Vera might get the unanimous decision against Frankie Edgar. No offense to the GOAT, Frankie Edgar, but, you know, time is a burden, man, and he's getting old. You know what I mean? He debuted in 2017 with the UFC. This is his 29th walk into the octagon. Marlon's a little fresher. He's a little younger. So we'll see what happens here. But like I said, I got Vera wins via decision. All right, possibly fight of the night. You can argue with me all you want. Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang for the women's strawweight title. Rose, what can we say about her, man? She's back on her throne after snapping Weili Zhang's 21-fight win streak with an effortless head kick in the first round. You can tell she was completely on all that night, full of determination, adrenaline. The same could be said for Zhang at the time, but Rose was ready. She came out, she was focused, she put in her work, and she just put in a better performance than Weili Zhang could. She caught her off guard. Her knockout was a thing of beauty, using her footwork to lure Zhang in to defend the low right kick, but went up with the left with zero hesitation, and she did not telegraph it at all. It was a shock to Zhang in every way, but you know she will be better prepared now, so don't expect Zhang to get knocked out that easily this fight. Weili Zhang, 21-2. She seemed like she was unstoppable. We all thought Weili Zhang was unstoppable, but then here comes Rose Namajunas. Ice cold veins, coming in there, getting the job done. But yeah, Weili Zhang, not going to let anybody talk bad about her. We got to hype her up. She is an amazing fighter. A 21-fight win streak was absolutely bonkers. You know what I mean? She was the queen of that division, of the strawweight division, but Rose came back and got her title again. You know, Rose dealt with some things early on when she first won the title, just anxiety, feeling pressed about having the title, being in the spotlight. But now she's more mature. She's ready to defend her title. She's ready to put in the work like she did last time. And with all these factors weighing in this is going to be one hell of a nuclear bomb, honestly. This fight is going to be brutal, it's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be exciting and entertaining. Weili has the skill with the stand-up, but it depends on where Rose can take the fight or where Weili Zhang can push the fight. Whoever takes full control in the stand-up here and gets in the pocket and maintains the pace of the fight and controls the pace of the fight is going to get this dub. It could either be Weili, it could be Rose. I'm unsure. I think the whole world is unsure, and that's why this fight in particular is going to be so entertaining. Most UFC fights, when it comes down to it, if you just don't know who's going to win, that's my favorite fight right there. It really does come down who can control the fight, who can land those punches, and who can get in the pocket and be more effective. You know, Weili Zhang didn't lose for 8 years, and Rose got the job done. Anything's possible in the UFC. It just takes one hit, either side. But this fight can steal the show. The ground skills, you know what I mean? It's going to be incredible. The stand-up is going to be incredible. I expect 5 rounds of absolutely elite striking. We could possibly have fight of the year here, but I got to take Rose. Rose is going to win this fight KO. She's going to beat Weili Zhang 2 times in a row. Weili Zhang is not going to get the title back. I love Rose. I think Rose is one of the most dynamic fighters in the UFC. She deserves the respect. She's gaining it back. And I think this is the time that she's really going to put her foot on the canvas and say, yeah, I'm the best in the world. Come at me. So I'm excited. I'm super pumped. Rose via TKO. Let's move on to the main event. Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2 at the welterweight division for the welterweight title of the world. Usman 22-3. He has the longest streak in the UFC with 14 wins. He is tied for the 3rd most wins at the welterweight title fights and is incredibly showing more dominance each win. There's a reason Kamaru Usman is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. This man is dangerous. He is a lethal weapon. He is the pound-for-pound king, and he headlines the fight, UFC 268 at Madison Square Garden, for his 5th title defense. And it's great to see the UFC champion so active these days. These days, not a lot of UFC champions, they fight once or twice a year, maybe once a year, you know what I mean? Usman is out here putting in the work, showing and wanting to prove why he is the best in the world. And that is the thing that I love so much about him. He worked his way up through the welterweight title, his wrestling. He earned many props. He earned many fans in this title run so far. But he did have a challenge last time him and Colby fought. It was his biggest fight to date, and I think it still could be one of the biggest fights to date for him coming back at it. You know what I mean? Usman striking has come in leaps and bounds. He's very proficient. He has a great takedown defense. He has a great ground game. The power in his fists and his kicks are insane. But he has to defend that takedown from Colby. If Colby can even get him down once, it's going to be a little difficult for Usman. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's going to be a little difficult for him. Like Usman, Colby Covington 22-6. He stormed up the welterweight ranks with his wrestling and his relentless pace. The champ snapped a dominant run of 7 fights, including unanimous decision over Damian Maia, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Robbie Lawler. After that humbling and hard-fought loss, Covington has only fought once, and that was another dominant display over Tyron Woodley. It was typically not going to look that way, I don't think, but Covington would not give up, and it shows anyway, but he ended up breaking his rib in the 5th round. Let me stop right there. I want to talk about Colby Covington's endurance and his strength and his durability. The man had his jaw broken in the last fight against Usman, told his coach, and then went back out there and kept fighting, even though he did get knocked out in the 5th round a lot of my friends know me, and a lot of people I talk to the UFC about, I don't like Colby Covington. I don't like how he got to the top. I don't like his banter, his personality, how he carries himself. It just seems very, 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 very fake to me. He needs to just chill. I know it gets people to watch the fight, but I would respect Colby Covington so much more if he would just shut the hell up, get out there, and fight, and show us what he can do. The gold chains, the private jets, the fake Instagram models, all that just needs to go out the window. Because he is a good fighter. I will give it to him. He is a damn good fighter. But the full package, I'm not fucking with it. I'm not. I just don't appreciate what he does and how he makes the sport look. Let's take Usman. Usman, an amazing way of how you should carry yourself in the UFC. He does his shit talking, but he's not doing it to a point to where he looks like a jackass. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get at with Colby Covington. He just looks like a jackass most of the time, but he can back it up sometimes. But off that, I think Covington has a great chance here at winning the title. I don't think Usman will lose this fight, to be honest with you. I think he's going to win this, and I think he's going to learn from his last fight. Because Usman's the type of fighter, once he fights someone, if you're going to fight him again, he's not going to make that same mistake twice. He knows how you fight. He knows your head pattern. He knows how you like to punch. He knows how you like to go for takedowns. Usman is very, very intelligent when it comes to being in the octagon, and so is Colby. But I think Usman's going to be just a little bit better in that aspect. He's the 3-1 odd favorite. I think he's going to knock it out of the park. I think he's going to finish it in either the first, second, or third round. Like I said, Colby's an amazing fighter. 22-6 in the UFC. That is not something to put under the rug. But Usman's the champ for a reason. Usman's one of the greatest welterweight fighters of all time. He's one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. And there's a reason he's champion. And that's because he's a dog and he's a beast and he can get the job done. And I think he can get the job done tonight. Like I said, much respect to Colby Covington. He did great against Robbie Lawler. He had a dominant performance over washed-up Tyron Woodley at the time. But, yeah, I don't expect this to go 5 rounds. If it does, it's going to be a bloodbath, like a bloodbath. But it would be funny if Colby gets his jaw broken again. That would be insane. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. All these fights tonight. Look out for that Justin Gaethje fight, the Namajunas fight against Look out for the Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler fight, Namajunas versus Weili Zhang, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington, and that Shane Burgos, that Frankie Edgar fight. All these fights are going to be absolutely insane tonight. I'm looking forward to this immensely huge UFC night. We got the early prelims starting at, let me see, one second. Why aren't the times showing up? 1 second, guys. Early prelims start at 6, I believe. And then the prelims start at like 8, I think. And then we got the main card starting at 10 p.m. And these are all Eastern Standard Times, the times I'm giving you guys. But yeah, man, they're all on ESPN pay-per-view, UFC 268. The time has come, man. This is exciting. A lot of people have been waiting a long time for this fight. Who else do we got on these early prelims fights? Let me see real quick. I know we got my boy CJ Vergara. He was on the show right before we took our hiatus. He's opening up the entire fight card tonight on the early prelims. He's going against Odd Osborne. So shout out CJ Vergara. I love that dude. He's a solid dude, solid fighter. So best of luck to him. Like I said, he's going to start out the entire night. We also got Bobby Green versus Alan Quinta tonight. Phil Halls versus Chris Curtis in the prelim. Alex Pierre versus Andreas Machalides. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. All leading up to the main event and to Kamaru Usman defending his title for the second time against Colby Covington. This would be his 5th or 6th title defense, so I'm excited, guys. If Kamaru Usman wins this fight, he'll be 21 and 0. And if Colby loses this fight, he'll be 16-3 and 0. But shout out to the UFC, shout out to all the fighters. Really, really looking forward to it. Starts tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN Plus. I think the early prelims and prelims will be on ESPN Plus or ESPN cable channel. It's just the main card, the last 5 fights you have to pay for. So, yeah, like I said, best of luck to all the fighters tonight. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys. This is Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast, and I'm your host, Jalen Walker. Peace, guys.
Hey, man. Spaceship sound. Rocket in this motherfucker. Shout out my niggas, though, you know what I'm saying? Gas that motherfucker down, nigga, down, track, feng shui. You know what I'm saying? Part of the chain.